So we're going to dive in and talk about Prophet's training so we can stay consistent at home. So first thing in the morning, you want to put Prophet's training collars on. That way you can communicate with him and stay consistent with the training. So we're going to turn his remote collar on. The remote collar actually has a red dot right here. This is a magnet that will turn on the collar. The matching magnet for this is on the remote. So you turn them on separately. So the collar turns on with a magnet. On the remote, you'll see it on one side there is a matching red dot. That is the magnetic key to turn on the remote. We're going to touch these two together and see a green light. So we touch them together, see the green light. Once you see the green light, take them apart, and now the collar is on. That does not include the remote. The remote turns on separately. So if we look at the back of the remote, we'll see in the center a big button with an L on it. That is the on-off button. We are going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. And now we can see that Prophet's screen is at level 20. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. So first thing in the morning, collar goes on Prophet, has a quick snap and a bungee, and we have the extender prongs because he has long hair right now. So we're going to use this collar to follow through with our commands. So whenever we ask Prophet to do a command, he has a choice to do it or not. If he does, great. Praise, pets, treats, encouragement. We say, hey, good job. Thank you for doing that. And in the beginning, you definitely want to pay him for his efforts. So you want to give treats, praise, and petting for all the behaviors he does correctly. So he'll continue to do those correctly. Then he also has the choice to not listen to your commands. This is where we're going to follow through and use the remote collar to correct that behavior, to correct him for not listening to your command so he's less likely to do it again in the future. So we have on the side here the black S button. That is the primary button. Do not push the red button. The black S button is the primary button we're going to use to communicate to Prophet. So let's get started with his commands. We're going to talk about his prong collar here in a second for on-leash stuff. So when we're working with him, at first use a leash in and out of the house. That way you can guide him a little bit and make the transition from here to home easier for Prophet. So let's start with just the remote collar. We're working on heel, loose leash walking. Heel is the command for walk next to me. So before you walk and during your walk, you will remind him heel. Heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. You're passing by a distraction, heel. Let him know, heel. If he gets distracted and tries to sniff the grass or walk too fast, you're going to say no, push the black S button, and then remind him, heel. So it's always no, heel, no, heel. What we're doing is we're telling him, hey, that action is incorrect. Here's your consequence. Remember, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then when he is doing the right behavior, good heel, treat, praise, petting. Good heel, treat, praise, petting. So whenever you're on walks, for majority of the walk, Prophet should be in a heel position. And then when you tell him free, free means go sniff, go explore, do your thing. You're still not allowed to pull on the leash. You can stay within the leash's boundaries, but I follow you and you get to sniff versus you walking with me in the heel. So that's free versus heel. Again, most of the time he should be in a heel position. So no, heel. Then we have sit. So whenever you stop walking, if you're going to cross the street or you need to tie your shoe, you're going to stop and have Prophet sit. If you do this every time over and over, he will have an automatic sit whenever you stop. That way, it just keeps him next to you versus him kind of wandering around, and then we have to try and get him back into the heel position. So whenever you stop, sit. If he does, great. If he doesn't, no. Sit. We ask the command one time. Now that doesn't mean we don't give reminders, and I'll talk about that more when we talk about down and place stay, but when we ask him for the first time to do a command, he has to do it the first time. If he doesn't and we have to ask him a second time, it's no, correction, sit. That way you don't have to repeat yourself over and over again. He understands the rules, but he can still choose whether he wants to listen or not, and he has to understand that his actions have consequences, whether it's treats or corrections with the remote collar. So sit means stay is implied until he is told free. So sit, and then you can, walk a circle around him. He is supposed to stay in the sit. Now, if you're going to have him stay, instead of saying stay, you can say sit as a reminder. So you're kind of repeating the command and letting him know, hey, I'm not telling you free, I'm telling you to sit, which means stay again. You can say stay, but it's just another word for him to try and memorize. So I like to repeat the command. That way he understands to stay in the sit position until he's told free. For example, door manners, we have him sit, we open the door, we remind him sit, then when we're ready to go through the door, we tell him either free or heel, and we walk through the door together. Then we have down. Down means lay down and stay. So it doesn't mean don't jump. That is just no and a correction. What down means is lay down and stay. So let's say you want to practice down stay and you're at a dog-friendly patio, restaurant, whatever. That way he's not up running around. You tell him down. If he does, great. If not, no. Correction, down. Now this is where we're also going to talk about the prong collar. So the prong collar is going to help us stay consistent with him at home while on leash. This is a guiding tool. So the leash will actually attach to the D ring. So it kind of looks like a D because there is a flat side. It also rotates. So the leash attaches here, not to the circle. We're going to use this in a tug and release fashion. Not constant pressure, but a tug and release. So to go back to heel, if you know, correction with the remote collar, give a little tug to tell him, hey, back up. If he's too far ahead, it's backwards. If he's too far to the side, it's to the side. No, pop, heel. Same thing with the remote collar. So for sit, it's a little pop up. For down, it's a little pop down. So if you tell him down, no, down, and then with the leash, you can give a little tug downward. How we're going to take this off. So it's about technique, not strength. You stabilize one, and then this one you're going to follow the pattern down and add pressure, and it will snap apart. Then to put it back together, squeeze, and it goes back together. It should look like this. So again, stabilize one, any of these links in the center, then we parallel, and we slide down the pattern of the prong. And I'm going in slow motion so it looks a little bit more dramatic than it actually is, but it's about technique, not strength. And then we squeeze to put these back in together. So that's going over the prong collar. So whenever I say pop and release the leash, it's talking about the prong collar giving a tug and release of the leash. So then we have the down stay. So whenever we're practicing down or place, we always go back to profit, tell him good down, and then tell him free, and you'll see that in the video here in a second. So with place is going to be the command that you're going to use when people come over, when you're having guests, or when you're eating and you just want profit to kind of chill out somewhere, but still be included in the festivities. So we put him on the elevated bed, we tell him place. Place means stay on this platform until you're told free. We do not free from a distance to strengthen his stay. So we put him on place. He can sit, stand, lay down. He can do whatever he wants on place, but the rules are no vocalizing, no getting off until you're told free, and no chewing on the actual bed. If you're going to have him on place for a long period of time, you can give him something to do like a chew, but you do not have to. So he's on place. Whenever we reward place, we put the treat on the bed. Good place. That way he understands the bed is the positive place to be. It's not necessarily coming from us approaching, but it's him staying on the bed. That way he knows the bed's the awesome zone to be. So if he steps off of the bed, no, place. We're also going to help him back onto the bed by using a pop and release of the leash. Nope. Place. That way the first couple of times what'll probably happen at home is he'll get off and not know exactly what to expect, so you help him pop back onto the bed with the leash so he knows exactly what he should and shouldn't be doing. So when he's doing a good job, good place, reward, and then when it's time to release him from the bed, we always go back to him. That way we pretend he is a mime in a box and we have to open the door. This will really strengthen his stay, because if you free from a distance, he will get lazy and he will just jump to you before you say free. So it's important to instill, hey, don't get off until I come to you. Good place, and then I tell you free, and then you can be free and run around or do whatever in that moment. Go outside, play, whatever it is. So that so far is heel, loose leash walking, sit stay, down stay, play stay. Now we have come when called. So whenever we practice come when called, always practice with a leash on first. Unless you're in a fenced in area, then you can primarily just rely on the remote collar, but a leash helps you reel him in if needed. So you'll see when we went to the park, I do have a light line on him. It's just a thin leash that I have, that if he were to take off, I can grab the leash and have that, but it's just a safety net to make sure that he's not going to take off on you. So when we call him to come to us, we want to make sure that this is really fun for him, because this is a really important command. If he were to get away from us on the street and take off towards a road, we want to make sure he has a solid recall so that we can trust that he'll come back. Always reward this command, because he needs to have a solid reward history with you. That way he knows when you call him, you're going to have the good stuff waiting for him, and it's a positive thing to come back to you. Never correct him for coming to you. So that's a key here. So whenever we call him, it is a simple come. You can say prophet come if you want, if that's easier for you, but you do not have to. Come. As soon as he starts coming to us, we praise that action. So we praise him for the action of running towards us. Once he gets to us, sit, reward with a treat. We always do that. That way he will know we are more fun than whatever is out there. So come, good boy, sit, reward, and then you can either tell him free, or you can change his leash to the short one and tell him heel, whatever's next. So I always have him sit to get his treat. That way he doesn't jump up and get overly excited. If he doesn't come to you, he's sniffing this blade of grass, it's really cool. You call him come, he ignores you, no, come, and you repeat that sequence until he comes to you. Once he comes to you, good boy, good choice, took you a couple times, but that's okay, sit, little reward. So less than what you would give him if he came the first time, but again, you're still positive the correction happened out there. You're still the fun person that didn't give the correction. And then we have leave it, so don't grab that. So you want to practice, especially if you're going to have guests over, dropping food on the ground and telling him leave it. Now the big difference between leave it and all the other commands is you don't have to say no before pushing the remote collar if he chooses to still go for the food. So you would drop food a few feet away, practice on leash first, and say leave it. If he goes for it, leave it. Or you can say no, leave it, whatever's easier. That way he knows when I hear leave it, I avoid that item on the ground. You can use this with socks, clothing, anything like that, napkins, tissue, food. It's easier to practice with food because it's more enticing for him to go towards it, but that is going to be the leave it command. So you would just say leave it, correction, and kind of go from there. If he does, great, praise, pet, all that fun stuff. If not, we practice again and make sure that he gets it right. Don't end on a negative note for him. So to go over everything again, heel, loose leash walking, sit, stay is implied until he's told free. Same thing with down stay and play stay. We don't free from a distance with these two. Come when called, he's out exploring, and then we call him to us. We don't put him in a sit and then call him to us. You can for fun practice, but it's not practical. You want to do a practical scenario where he's distracted and then you call him to us. And leave it, don't get that off of the ground. So you want to reward the behaviors you like and want to keep seeing to increase the rate of those behaviors. Use these tools to decrease the rate of unwanted behaviors. Have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Prophet's commands.
installation and service. Over 20 years experience and voted #1 in the Best of Dago contest. It's hard to beat the Prong professional service of White Heating and Air. Professionals who've been here for over 45 years. The professionals who care. Cleaning, restoration, 24/7 response. 442-1288.
At Horizon Health, we believe great person care is strengthen your children's health. A positive outlook of work experience easily translates into exceptional patient experience. Here's Laura.
Down. Good boy. Down. Good down. Good down. Down. Free. Good job. Yo. Free. Okay. Good boy. Good boy. Ready? Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? Free. Leave it. Good boy. Good job. Free. Free. Okay. Good boy. What's this? Free. Leave it. Good boy. Good. Place. Good job. Good place. Good boy. Good place. So there's a few features on the remote collar that we need to go over. So I showed you how to turn them on. Now I'm going to show you how to turn everything off. So the remote collar turns off just the same way it turns on. You touch the oh, I didn't even touch it and it went off. Let me double check. You touch the magnet and you see the red light, that means it's off. This one has a really strong magnet because I didn't even get that close and it turned it off. That's fine. On-off button, same thing. We're going to push and hold it and the screen should go dark. I just dropped something. Okay, so we're going to turn this back on and go over the rest of the features of the remote collar. So we'll turn this back on. So before I said don't push this red button, right? This is going to be the boost feature, the oh no emergency. It's going to add 15, I believe, to his already existing level. So instead of 20, it is going to go up to 35. When you would use this button is a scenario where Prophet has put himself in a dangerous position. He takes off and he's heading towards the street. You call him to come to you. He's not listening. You're in Hail Mary mode, basically. No, correction, 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 until he comes back. It should be a big enough boost. When dogs are distracted, their tolerance for discomfort goes up. So we want to match that if he needs it. So we can adjust the boost too to make it a little bit higher, maybe make it to a 40 if 35 is not enough. I have not needed the boost yet with Prophet because he's never been in that kind of mindset, but you have it in case you need it. So just be mindful that the red button will boost him. Wouldn't be the end of the world if it accidentally happened, but you want to be really careful and make sure you don't accidentally push the red button instead of the black button. On the other side, we have the T button. That's vibrate. You can use this in the future as a warning for Prophet. That way, if he's like doing pretty good but makes a little mistake, hey, straighten up. It's kind of, you don't want to use it a lot in the beginning because it's like counting to 3. You want to ensure that, hey, I mean what I say. These are my commands. If you don't listen, there is a correction, not just a warning vibrate. Then we have the on-off button in the back, which is actually also a light. So if you tap it once, twice, 3 times, it turns him into a flashlight so you can see him at night. With his long hair, it might be a little challenging to see him, but tap, you have that option. So it's tap. So instead of pushing and holding, it's tap. Once, makes it flashlight, tap again, solid flashlight, tap one more time. So if you go to turn this off and you don't hold it long enough, you will activate the flashlight. The little M/C button on the back here, you do not have to worry about that. That changes the mode on the collar from momentary to continuous. We just need momentary right now as a little correction versus constant stimulation. He does not need that. Then we have the little dial. So the dial is locked in. You actually can't turn it up or down right now. If Prophet's level needs to change, you can change it. If 20 seems like it's too much, change it to 15. If 20 doesn't seem enough, change it to 25. So how to change it, you're going to push down and hold the dial until the 1D is flashing. So now that the 1D is flashing, you can change the level for lower or higher than what you had it. Once you have it down to the level you want it or up to the level you need it, you put it there, you push down until the 1D is solid again, and now we know that it is locked in place. That's how you change the level if it's too much or not enough for Prophet to listen to your commands. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to, oh, actually, I want to talk about the charging ports. So the charging port is underneath the collar here, underneath where the prongs are. This will last about 2 days on a charge if you turn it off at night. Prophet can wear this 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night. It is waterproof, so he can go swimming, charging port for the remote. He can go swimming with this on. He can wear it in water. You can use it while he's swimming, no problem. But you want to make sure once he's done swimming that you take the collar off, dry him thoroughly, because the collar fits very snug so the contact points can make good connection to his skin. So if he gets wet and it's really snug, moisture can build a bacteria which could lead to a skin infection. So you want to make sure that he's really dry before putting the collar on. In here we have his original collar that came with The remote collar, we have his charger, charging that can charge both the remote and the collar at the same time. Then we have the short prongs, so if you ever get him a really short haircut, you can change back to these short prongs. And we have the tool to do that, which is the little black tool in this baggie. The bottom here has the instruction manual, so if you want to go over all the buttons in greater detail, you can do that there. And this has a 2-year full warranty, so you want to contact them on the box. And if you need to get it replaced, if anything happens in the next 2 years, they can send you a replacement. So that is pretty much it for all the other functions of the remote collar. If you have any questions, let us know. But again, have fun, stay consistent, reward what you like, correct what you don't to keep consistent. And let us know if you have any questions. Have fun.